Yo, what's good? Big Z here. I'm back with another new single for the second week in a row. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I made it. So I'll link the full track down below where you can stream it on Spotify or whatever streaming service you use. But let's get into the track. So here's the project that I produced the track in, and then I mixed it in a separate project. So this won't sound as polished as the version you hear on Spotify and Apple Music, but all the production stuff is still in here. I've got everything organized into these little folders here, so let's go down into the synths folder and check out the intro and the first verse.
We were young and free, had our own reality.
So in the background of the verses, just to give it more atmosphere, I have this ARP sound. And this sound is from Omnisphere. It's called Enchanted Flute. I probably tweaked some of the effects, but I don't think I messed with the original preset that much. And then I just have some extra processing on there, like some delay and reverb just to make it more atmospheric. And then layered with that sound, I have this like violin drone layer. It's really low in the mix, it just adds even more atmosphere. And then the main chords come in here. These chords are also from Omnisphere. I basically just cycled through presets until I found a chord sound that I liked for this verse. The only thing I've added to them is a little bit of compression and some EQ, just cutting off the low end. And these are the chords down here in the MIDI file. And you will notice that the velocity of every note is a little bit different. I just wanted to make them sound a little bit more humanized. So to do that, you just go to Functions, MIDI Transform, and then Random Velocity. And it'll move around the velocity of your notes and make them sound a little more humanized than just having the same velocity for every note and every chord. Then layered with those chords, I have this pluck sound automating in. And that's just a simple saw pluck sound from Serum that I made for this track. And it's just a saw wave and this yeah wave from the vowel wavetable section. But other than that, it's a really simple sound. Like there's not many effects or anything fancy going on. Here's the envelope I'm using just to make that pluck sound. And then I just have this macro opening up the cutoff of the filter throughout the break. So I'm trying to introduce something new like every 8 bars or so just to keep things interesting. And that's why I have this piano come in, make everything a little bit stronger sounding in this second half of the first verse. So it's the Maverick piano from Contact, which I use a lot. And I've just added some external processing here just to make it sound a little bit better. So we got some compression, this Soothe plugin, then some EQ, some more EQ, and then a little bit of room reverb. So without those effects, it sounds like this. Then with the effects. Then the last layer in the break is this bass right here. And that's just a preset straight from one of my Serum preset packs, which you can get below. But it just fills out the low end nicely in the breaks.
Broken diamonds, glasses on the floor. We set the fires burn forevermore. One step high.
I'm kind of filtering in the drums just to introduce them in the break, but I don't want them to be at full volume or playing in the full frequency spectrum yet. So that's why I'm filtering them in this drum bus right here. It just keeps the rhythm moving to have this percussion going during the break, but you definitely don't want it to be as loud as the drums in your drop.
Broken diamonds, glasses on the floor. We set the fires burn forevermore. One step higher every single day.
arrangement wise, I was playing around with the arrangement when I was working on the track. Originally, this is the chorus part right here. I had the chorus during the build-up of the track, but I thought it sounded cooler to have the drop come in earlier in the song and just have the drop hit and the chorus hit at the same time. So everything just drops out and it's just the kick drum, bass line, and the vocals. And to help this have a little bit more impact, I've taken out all the reverb and delay on the vocals right before the drop. So here are the reverb and delay buses for the vocals. I've just automated those volumes down so you can't hear any delay or reverb right before the drop. Then it comes back in and it hits you harder. So let's get into the bass sounds in the drop. Here's the main bass layer right here. And this is a Serum sound using this FM Freak wavetable. It sounds pretty cool. And then I've got some effects on there and a short envelope because I want it to be a nice plucky sounding bass. And I just have some external effects on here, some Waves R bass, some EQ, some FabFilter Saturn, just pushing up this certain frequency band. And then I added a little bit of reverb on there to put it in a space. Then to add some more high end to this bass, I added this top bass layer. And that is a Nexus layer you've probably seen me use before. It's FM Bass 1 from the Deep House expansion pack. And I'm just making sure to EQ out all the low end to make room for the main bass layer. Then to give more impact to the downbeat of each bar, I have this stab layer. And this sound is a preset just straight from one of my Serum preset packs, Sounds of 2020. It's just a really good stab sound to emphasize the downbeat of certain tracks. So in the beginning of the drop, those are the only sounds that are playing. I slowly introduce some more drums right here.
We both know nothing is better. We promised we would never fade, never fade. When we grow up, we'll be the same. I know that will never change.
Then that piano sound comes in. It's actually two different piano layers. The first one is going to be the M1 piano that I like to use a lot. That's kind of providing all the high-end information for the piano, and the other layer is providing the body of the piano. And that one is from Contact. It's the Maverick piano again, which I also used in the verses. So in this part of the song, you still just have the bass, drums, vocals, and piano playing. And then the next section is when the vocal chops come in. So let's see if I kept the original file. I did. So what I did is just take certain parts of the audio from the lead vocal that sounded cool, that sounded like they would work for vocal chops, and I loaded them up in Logic Sampler.
Oh, hey,
So I just loaded those into Logic Sampler here, and I pitched them to the keyboard so I can mess around with different melodies. And here's the melody that I came up with for this one. For processing on these vocal chops, I've got some Ozone Imager, just widening them up. Then I have some Waves R compressor, adding some compression. Then FabFilter Saturn to add some nice drive. Then I have some EQ on there, just cutting out the low end and making them a little less muddy. And then I have some reverb and delay on there as well to put them in a nice space. second verse, I keep the drums in just so it has more energy than the first verse. Then to make it a little different than the first verse, I added these organ chord sounds in. Just keeps the listener interested in the second verse with something new. And then in the beginning of the track, when the first chorus hit, I just had the whole track drop. In this part, I'm gonna have everything break down for the second chorus.
Oh, we broke gold, shining forever. We promised we would never fade.
It gives the listener a break from the drums and the bass and just all the compressed sounds, and everything just drops out and sounds really clean and atmospheric. So it's nice to give the listener's ears a break in this section.
Fade, never fade. We both know nothing is better. We promised we would never fade, never fade. When we grow up, we'll be the same. I know that would never change. We were gold, shining forever. We promised we would never fade, never fade.
I just wanted to do an extra long build up in this section to really build up the energy and release it into this last drop. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go stream the song down below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
We were young and